Meera, the slanting shadows in the room drew a stark finger across the coffee table, signaling the now sunny day outside. The morning had started off a bit dreary, with rain threatening to fall, but there never was any precipitation. Finally, the clouds surrendered, giving way to strong afternoon sunshine. Lifting my face to the late day sun, I closed my eyes. Leaving my memories behind shut eyelids, drawing in a deep breath, I inhaled the warm satisfaction of a contented life. My shoulders lifted with the expanse of air in my lungs, and then lowered as I exhaled with a small purr. Eyes still closed, I rolled my head slowly. It felt so good to stretch my muscles after sitting at my desk for so many hours. Although my days are busy, writing in my journal seems to prompt other memories, not just the ones I'm writing down. Today I savored some of those memories, looking back at the last 3 years. They have been amazing years. Not only did I have Vivan in my life, but I realized my dream of becoming a writer, with two successful books so far and a third being written. Every day is a new source of excitement for me. Everyone has a story, it's true, and I love the one that was being written about my life. Slowly, I turned my face back towards my mahogany desk. Finally, I allowed my eyelids to lift, first peeking through my eyelashes and refocusing as they opened more. A smile played on my lips as I reread the journal entry in front of me. I knew my lips were moving slightly as the words played through my mind. Vivan teased me when I did that, but it was how I best saw the world on the pages in front of me. I picked up my pen, heavy but beautifully balanced. The pen was a gift, a show of support for my career, and I loved feeling its weight as I wrote. A soft knock sounded at the door. Yes, I responded lazily. Meera, a young woman's voice called through the heavy door. The man from the magazine is here for your interview. Ah, yes, I turned smiling. I tucked my pen between the pages and closed my beloved diary. A glance at the clock confirmed that he was right on time. Can you please show him in? I stood my bare toes sinking into the thick grey carpeting before I slipped my shoes back on. I glanced down quickly to make sure no stray crumbs from breakfast were clinging to my shirt. There were none. Casual, presentable, perfect, I murmured. Command to my music player and the volume turned down immediately. I loved that device. The door swung open, a slightly heavy-set man sauntered in, eyes dancing over the sharp lines in the room, the happy pictures on the walls. I waited patiently. When he finished his appraisal, with the grin I reached out my hand to shake his. Hi, I'm Meera, I said warmly. Welcome to my home. He took my hand, pumping it firmly. I prided myself on having a firm handshake, but quickly adjusted my grip to apply an even more steady, firm grasp. Sai Patel, he replied. Thank you for allowing me to interview you. Of course, I said. It's my pleasure. I looked over the man's shoulder where my assistant Ashi was standing patiently. Although young, in her early 20s, Ashi was determined to prove her worth despite the fact that she was inexperienced and a recent college dropout. In my mind, I knew that, with a little patient guidance, the young woman's interest in her education would be rekindled. Ashi cocked her head slightly, hands clasped in front of her. Would you like me to bring in some refreshments? I turned a questioning look at Sai, who nodded eagerly. I'm a little thirsty, he said, somewhat sheepishly. Ashi, I said, would you mind bringing in 2 cappuccinos? I couldn't help but tease, drawing out the idea of more refreshment a little before I continued. And perhaps some of the butter cookies I baked yesterday. Sai cleared his throat happily. You baked too? He asked, plopping down into the soft brown leather chair in front of my desk. I nodded and settled myself back into the black desk chair. I don't get much time in the kitchen, I'm afraid. I admitted it was true. I'll never be the culinary artist that my friend Kabir and his wife Nisha are, but I do love to bake. Though when I do, I find it clears my head and breaks up the monotony of a long day at the desk. This is one of my grandmother's recipes, so I hope you enjoy the biscuits. I'm sure I will. Seemingly contented knowing that food was on its way, Sai began to rustle through his breathing up sachet before bringing out a small recorder. Do you mind? He asked. Of course, I shook my head, agreeing to his request. Recording my words protect me as much as it protects him. This way I can't be misquoted. First, he said, almost as an afterthought, I must congratulate you on the success of your first two books. Have you read them then? He blushed and nodded happily. Most definitely. It's why I begged my editor for this assignment. I really wanted to meet the women behind this great success. You'd have to live under a rock not to have heard of both of your books. I smiled. That is kind. I said, it always made I smiled. That is kind, I said. It always made me feel humble when I heard praise like this. I'm glad that it has been an inspiration for some, and I hope the third book will offer as much encouragement as my previous two books. Sai nodded and turned his attention back to the recorder. Fumbling with the switch, finally he placed it on the glass table in front of him. Then he finished a round in his sachet and pulled out a small notebook and pen. I must have shifted in my seat because his eyes snapped back to full attention on me. How are you after the accident? I am much, much better. Really, completely healed. Thank you for asking. Flipping his notebook open to a fresh page, he absently rolled his pen between his fingers before continuing. So, tell me, you truly brought your characters to life in the first book, perhaps because they are based on real people? I nodded. I believe that this is a part of the magic. Yes, but it's not necessarily the people themselves. Although, of course, they are my friends. I think it was their journey that made the book so special, and the journeys were the inspiration. Tell me more about the inspiration, he pressed. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Sometimes, I began. We move through life seemingly unaware of what is going on around us. We go to work, we come home, we make a meal, we are living, but we are not really absorbing life. While these things are important, they are only one layer, sort of like a sketch before it becomes a beautiful painting. Living life to the fullest is about painting the yellows of the laughter, the blues of the bird songs we hear, the reds of the sadness that pulls us down at times, and the purple as we spring back up, pushing past the darkness and striding with a purpose towards the good times. And your book certainly does show this, he said. What is writing a book like for you? I smiled. Writing a book is going on an amazing journey. You might have some idea of where you are heading, but you have no idea how the landmarks and events on the way will impact you. Is it daunting to decide to write an entire book? No, I said. The words, like a sandcastle, start to build around me until they create a great fortress from the tiniest letter. As he spoke, Ashi nudged her way past the half-closed office door with a tray of beverages and cookies. Sai's fingers danced eagerly in the air as she placed the tray on the table between us, then happily snatched a biscuit as soon as she stepped back. Ashi quietly placed my cappuccino in front of me, met my eye, and raised an elegantly arched eyebrow in a silent question. I think we're all set for now, Ashi. I responded to her non-question. Thank you so much. Of course, Ashi said, then glided across the room and closed the door behind her softly. So, Sai continued, tell me about how people have recreated you through your books. I stood up and walked around my desk and piled 3 cookies in the palm of my left hand. If I didn't pounce on them now, I was afraid I wouldn't get the chance. Leaning casually against my desk, I responded, it has been amazing. Of course, when I started to write, it was with the hope that people would be open to my stories. I remember walking down a street one time, and there were a group of school kids, maybe in their mid-teens, I'm guessing. They were all bunched together, talking and having fun. I wouldn't have paid much attention, but as I walked by, I happened to glance at one of the kids. When he thought nobody was paying attention to him, he let that mask of the cool kid fade away. I saw something on his face, pain, sadness. I don't know for sure, it was only there for a moment and then the smile came back, and he went back to laughing with his friends. I thought to myself, there's a story in each and every one of us. It's not the facade that we put on when we are around our friends, our co-workers, or our family. It's what is in our hearts. It's our hopes, our dreams, our fears. Sai munched thoughtfully on a cookie and nodded. I can see what you're saying, Meera. There are times when I interview people for an hour and walk out knowing that there is more to learn about them. Exactly, and I think that these stories are important for us to learn. Why? Because as much as we think we are individuals, we are influenced by so many different forces. We are not only formed by our experiences, but also by the people that have helped guide us and sometimes challenge us, push us to be more than we are. As I spoke, I could feel an urgent energy rising up in me, effervescing. My books, my success so far. I believe it's because I have been able to lasso these emotions and put words to them in a way that people can relate to the characters. They can see the people in my books just as clearly as I can see you, looking at the pile of cookies on the table. Sai tore his eyes from the plate of food and looked at me once again, breaking into a grin. You caught me, he laughed. I joined in his laughter. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Oh, I am, he said, patting his belly before going back to our conversation. You certainly have caught those emotions. Much to the delight of your readers, your books have certainly become an inspiration to many people. I said sincerely, I certainly hope so. My intent has always been to give my readers something to think about as they are navigating through their own lives. I want to inspire, to evoke a sense of drive in people. We all have the opportunity to improve our lives every single day. We shouldn't sit idle and let life happen. We need to make it happen. I was a little shiver ripple through sigh, and I knew that he was not just hearing my words, but actually feeling them. He sat silently for a moment, as though he was thinking intentionally about something. Then, with a little shake, he smiled at me and returned to the interview. What can you tell me about this new book then? Not much, I'm afraid. I still need to finalize things with my publishers before we release too many details. Just a hint? He asked, leaning forward. I knew he would ask, just as I knew it would be okay to give him a little taste of what was to come. It's about a star maker, I said. I couldn't help it. I wanted to see the approval on his face. I still needed to know that this was a good idea. My publishers had liked the storyline, but they had a different agenda from my reader. My readers wanted to be inspired. At the blank look on Sai's face, I knew I needed to give more information. Not like some fantasy, I explained. This star maker helps people achieve their dreams and become successful. I explained a little more, then trailed off as I watched him scribbling intentionally in his notebook. I gazed out of the window at the sky, realizing the warmth of the sun. I knew the clouds would skate in from beyond the horizon soon. He cleared his throat. Is the publishing deal finalized? I shook my head. I'll be meeting my publisher next week at the Delhi Lit Fest. We'll finalize things then. Sai popped up yet another butter cookie in his mouth and crunched thoughtfully. That is why you are going there then. Oh no, I responded. That is a part of it, of course, but not even the most important part. I'm anxious to meet my peers, the other authors that will be there. What do you hope for? He asked. My watch gave out a small chime, reminding me of the time. I glanced at it, subtly indicating the end of the interview. The world is wide open. I responded to his question, shrugging my shoulders. I would no more dare guess what I will meet than I could tell you what I will be eating for breakfast a year from now. But I will tell you something. I'm very, very excited to see what the future holds for me. Sai packed away his interviewing material, then stood up and offered me his hand. I shook it warmly, then wrapped the remaining few biscuits in a napkin and silently offered them to him. Thank you, he said, taking them happily and holding them like they were a cherished treat. They are most delicious. You're welcome, and thank you for coming over today. I reached behind my desk and retrieved my business card. Please, feel free to let me know if you need a clarification on anything or if you have any follow-up questions. Sai's eyes met mine. I knew from what he had said that he had wanted to meet me, but now I could see in his eyes that there was new admiration, not just curiosity about who I was, He slipped his own card out of his pocket. "And for you," he said, handing the dog-eared information over to me. "If there is anything to add, please let me know. Travel safely to Delhi and best of luck to you, Meera." I walked him to the door and we said our goodbye once more. I watched him drive away from my little house and leaned against the door, going over our conversation in my head. I loved being able to speak about my experiences. I always hope that these interviews help inspire people as much as my writing. Maybe Sai would go home and start writing his own book. As I returned to my office with the intention of clearing up after a snack, my phone rang. I picked it up but had no time to get my hello out. "What time will you be here?" the man on the phone said without preamble. "And hello to you," I laughed at my friend Kabir. "I'll be there in about half an hour." "Great," Kabir said enthusiastically. "Looking forward to it." "Me too," I agreed. "It's going to be a night to remember, for sure." Pressing the button to end the call, my eyes danced over to the picture of Ivan on the wall. "I'll see you soon," I said softly, blowing the photograph a gentle kiss. I knew he'd be picking me up any minute now, so I grabbed a brightly wrapped gift that was lying on the table, stroking my fingers over the pink and white bow. Wandering into the kitchen, I let Ashi know that Sai had left and that I would be leaving soon as well. We quickly went over the schedule for the next day, and then I went back into my office to call Vivan.